Hi everyone, welcome back to our channel. We are at Scenic View Campground in West Winfield, New York. It is a beautiful campsite. We were here last year, so if you want to check out our video from about a year ago, we kind of give a tour of the campground. But for today, we're just going to have some fun. We're going to eat some good food, and we're going to actually head back to the tent and do a little tent talk on celebrity encounters. Some of the celebrities that me and Rick have encountered in our life, just because it's fun.
We're all set for a beautiful weekend of camping. All right, here we go. Tent talk time about the celebrity encounters that we have had.
Oh yes. So back in 1999 to 2000, we were living in Portland, Oregon. And
that's where I grew up.
Yep. And I was working at the Heathman Hotel, which is upper class hotel. A lot of celebrities.
Uppity.
Yeah, a lot of celebrities will stay there. And Rick was actually working across the street, catty corner from me at the Hilton Hotel.
Hilton Hotel, the executive Hilton Hotel. It was a huge Hilton Hotel in downtown Portland.
It was. So when I was hired, I was working at the front desk, and we have this huge celebrity autograph book. And so I'm going through it, and I'm seeing autographs from like Julia Roberts, Tom Hanks, Cheech and Chong, Prince,
everybody.
So, yeah, so I called Rick, and I'm like, when you get off work, you got to come across the street. You got to see this book. So we were just kind of going through it, and it was pretty cool.
And I saw that book, and I was like, Karen, we need this book. It's worth lots of money.
No. But yeah, I just wanted to share some of like the celebrity encounters that we both have had. The first, well, I don't know if this was the first one, but it's the first one I can think of, was Gus Van Sant. He's
famous director.
He's a director that did what?
Good Will Hunting. He did My Own Private Idaho. He did that one with Matt Dillon, Drugstore Cowboy. Yeah.
Yeah,
a lot of good flicks.
And he actually came up to the front desk because he needed me to change out a 20 for him. So I gave him a 10, a 5, and 5 ones.
Okay, Gus.
Yes. And but he was nice, he was nice because when you work, in a hotel or a high-end store or stuff, you can't get like overly excited, even if like you're excited about seeing certain celebrities.
Yeah, keep it cool.
Got to keep it cool. So the next celebrity I was so excited about, I saw him in the lobby standing there. He was kind of waiting for his crew to come down. And I was saying to myself, I'm like, oh, please don't be a jerk. And I said, good morning, sir. And he was like, good morning. And I was like, got any special plans today? And I'm going to totally butcher this accent, but he was like, we're typing a special at the Oregon Zoo. It was Steve Irwin.
Steve Irwin.
And that's the best Australian accent I can do. But yeah, he was super cool. Just very nice. His face just lit up. And I was just like, man, that's like really, I said something like, oh, that's really nice. And he's like, it's very exciting.
Yeah, the Portland Zoo is humongous.
Oh, it's a beautiful zoo.
Beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, like exactly how you saw him on TV is exactly how he was like in real life. I mean so I was pretty happy with that one. The next celebrity that stayed there was Sting and his wife. They were staying there for a few days.
Freaky Sting.
I didn't see anything freaky, but
I read stories.
And then the next one was the Smashing Pumpkins, that group. And it was funny because their road manager came down to the front when they were checking out. And the Smashing Pumpkins come out of the elevator, and I don't know if they were hungover or if they were just moody or something, but they were just like really on this guy's last nerve, and he's signing the bill, and he's like, it's like taking care of a bunch of whiny little babies. And I just smiled, and I was like, oh, lucky you. So the next one was Jesse Ventura, which included us both because he was the governor of Minnesota at the time, and he was staying at the Heathman Hotel. Not sure what he was doing, but he had his whole security team with him, and he wanted a Pepsi, and so the guy comes up and he's like, Mr. Ventura would like a Pepsi, and I was like, oh, okay, so I called, the restaurant part, and I was like, do you guys have a Pepsi? And they're like, no, we only carry Coke products.
We only carry Coke.
And I was like, it's like crap. I'm like, Jesse Ventura wants a Pepsi. So I'm like, let me call Rick, because he was in the purchasing department.
You better get a Pepsi quick. He's going to body slam you.
Yeah. So I called Rick. I'm like, do you guys carry Pepsi products? And he was like, no. He's like, we do Coke products. And I'm like, I'm like, Jesse the Body Ventura wants a Pepsi. And he's like, I'll go to the store. So he actually goes to the store.
Ran to the store.
Ran down to the street, down to the store, bought him a Pepsi, came in, brought it to me, and then I went up to...
like his personal assistant couldn't do that for him.
I know.
There was like a store around the block. Jeez.
So I brought him his Pepsi, and he was like, thank you so much. And I'm thinking, you have no idea what we just had to do to get you this Pepsi. But I didn't say that. But I was like, you're welcome, sir, And the next one was Ron Jeremy.
Nope. We're keeping it PG-13.
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 He was staying at the Heathman, and they called down at the front desk, and I answered, and they needed me to bring up some Scotch tape and a stapler. I don't know why. So I bring it up there to the room, and Ron Jeremy answers the door in his white robe. And then as soon as they open the door, you can kind of see like the lighting that they have. So I believe he was making a film.
Tore that room up.
So there was that one.
PG-13.
PG-13. And but since we're on that subject, the movie that had come out quite a few years ago, 50 Shades of Grey, the author of that book actually is a big fan of the Heathman Hotel. And the Heathman is actually mentioned about 18 times in the book. And so when they actually made the movie, they did do some filming there at the Heathman as well. So there was that. And they actually have like a 50 Shades of Grey room, like dedicated kind of, to that. So,
and that's one of the cool things about the Heathman. They have,
because we're in an artsy district.
Yeah, and they have themed rooms. So there's like an Andy Warhol room.
Yep.
Things like that, where you're going to pay a few extra dollars for it, but they're interesting and real nice.
Yep, exactly. And so the last one was Scottie Pippen.
Oh, Scottie Pippen. Now this is when Scottie Pippen was, when he was went to the Portland Trail Blazers for that little short stint of his.
Yeah.
After he left the Bulls and all that.
Yeah, so they stayed there for 33 days because they were house hunting, when they moved to Portland. So, but he did go by an alias name, and I'm not going to give you that alias just in case if he still uses it. But on a side note, though, when Prince stayed there, sadly, because he's passed away, I'll give you his alias. When he was staying at the Heathman
Which
Hotel,
he had many.
He had many, but the one that he used at the Heathman was Groucho Marx.
Yep.
But so Scottie Pippen, he he stayed there for 33 days, him and his wife, and it was definitely interesting. He did.
And the reason why he stayed at the Heathman for a month was because they were trying to find a house.
Yep.
So obviously he was set up at the hotel by the Portland Trail Blazers, and they paid for everything.
Yeah, and his bill back then, it came to like, oh my gosh, well over 10 grand.
More than that.
But his wife was really nice. She would always talk to us, and we'd ask her how's the house hunting going, and she'd be like, "Oh, I saw a few, and I like this, but I didn't like that," and she was nice. But let me tell you, Scotty, he would come in every single night with like an entourage of women. Okay, PG-13.
PG-13.
And not only that, but it was like every night, and it was just he had like a huge suite rented out, and he called one time because he wanted a wake up call. So I answered the phone, and he was like, "Yes, I would like a wake up call at 7 a.m." And I was like, "Of course," So I marked him down for 7. Then he calls back like 5 minutes later. Why don't you make that 8 o'clock? Sure, no problem. Then he calls back like 5 minutes later, and he's like, why don't you make that 11 o'clock? Okay.
Ain't you got some basketball to do?
I know. But the thing about Scotty is he definitely earned that nickname, No Tippin' Pippin'.
No Tippin' Pippin'.
That man would not tip the valet, the concierge. He actually ordered a whole bunch of pizzas from Pizza Hut. And the delivery boy went up and delivered the pizzas. And then when he came out of the elevator, we were like, hey, come here. And we're like, did he tip you? And the kid was like, no. How can you not tip the pizza delivery boy?
Not even an autograph.
We're not asking for $1,000
Come
tip.
on,
Come
man.
on. Drop the boy a $5 bill or something.
Something.
Jeez.
No Tippin' Pippin'.
No Tippin' Pippin'.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. But yeah, he stayed a month there, and he definitely partied it up. So, but I think that's all like my celebrity encounters from the Heathman, but you've had a few outside the hotels.
Yeah, well, when I was working at the Hilton Hotel,
yeah,
we did have, now this was a time when Al Gore was running for president with Joe Lieberman as his VP. So Al Gore and Joe Lieberman come to the Hilton Hotel, and so I worked in the like the shipping receiving area. We basically, my job was I ordered everything for the hotel, from the restaurant to the office to the rooms, supplies, whatever. So Al Gore and Joe Lieberman, they come to the Hilton Hotel because they're going to do their little, spiel in Portland, Oregon, which, of course, everybody in Portland is going to vote for a Democrat anyway. But it was very interesting because that place went on lockdown.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it went lockdown. They took up the 2 top floors of the hotel. Boom. They didn't have all the rooms. They just shut down the 2 top floors, and they had a few rooms for the Secret Service, whatnot. I mean, they had snipers across the street.
They had the snipers on our roof, too.
Yeah. And just keeping an eye out for whatever. So anyway, I would deliver certain, supplies to different departments within the hotel. And I remember there was this, I had to deliver, this is kind of funny. So I had to deliver supplies to the rec room, or the weight room where the pool is and all this stuff and everything else. And so I go to the room, and there's Secret Service in the pool area.
Everywhere.
I have to tell you, everybody's seen Secret Service on TV. You've seen Secret Service in movies, and they seem like they're just normal guys in their little black suits or whatever.
They are scary.
I'm telling you right now, when I walked into that rec room where the pool is and the weights and everything, the atmosphere just changed. And the Secret Service were there. And when I saw them, like, boom, boom, eye to eye, there was like an aura, whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
And that aura was, do not even think about effing around. Keeping it PG-13.
PG-13.
I was scared. These guys are very intimidating. So when I walk in, I'm asking, one of the workers there at the desk, I'm like, what's going on here? Why are these guys, how come Secret Service is in here? And they're telling me, well, Joe Lieberman, did I call him George before?
No.
Oh, Joe Lieberman, he's going to take a swim in the pool. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. All right. I mean, these Secret Service were around to watch him take a swim.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right. So I'm kind of like biding my time and kind of like wasting time here because I want to see Joe Lieberman come in. Sure enough, 2 minutes later, Joe Lieberman comes in. George is another story. I'll get to that because I'm so excited about it. But anyway, Joe Lieberman comes in. He's wearing shorts. He's got no shirt on.
Swimming trunks.
He's got his swimming trunks on. White, pasty, skinny. I'm like, what the heck, man? And all the Secret Service are just around there while Joe Lieberman gets in the pool and swims. I'm just like, wow, this is crazy. And basically, it was like, all right, I have to leave now. But the Secret Service, what was that one story I told you about the Secret Service?
Yeah, when you were going down to break.
When I went to go take a break.
Apparently Al Gore was in the area.
Al Gore was in the area. I was going to go take my break in this certain hallway area or whatever. And Secret Service said,
where you going?
Where you going? And I was like, I'm going to take my break. He's like, no, you're not. And I was like, you're right, I'm not. It was like a Jedi mind trick. I was like, what the heck is going on here? I was like, it was the freakiest thing I've ever been through. And those guys don't play. Much props to those guys. I don't know what kind of training they go through or how they do their Jedi mind trick, but man, it does work because you can feel it. Another story I have, I mean, I have a lot of stories, but I'm going to tell you the one story that one of the greater stories that blew my mind. So anyway, here in New York State, out in the middle of nowhere, there's like this big castle, and they usually have a lot of open air concerts on this big mountain next to this big castle and everything. So headlining, it was an all-day concert. So from like 10 in the morning until 10 at night, they're having all these bands playing. And for like $100, you could have like VIP service, which means you get unlimited beer, you get unlimited access to everything, food and all that stuff. Front row to the stage and all that stuff. Well, the headliner was George Clinton.
George
Clinton, P-Funk, Parliament. And I was like, I got to see George Clinton because this is going to be great. So me and my friend went up there. So we went up there straight 10 o'clock in the morning. We had VIP. So we had a free beers. We're drinking beer at 10 in the morning. Young and dumb. Well, this was what 15 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Still young.
Yeah, still young
And dumb.
and unsanctified.
Yes.
So we're out there and we're drinking beers. They had little bands playing during the day and stuff like that. But the main attraction, I'm there to see George Clinton. I'm just like, yes.
He was so excited when he saw the flyer, like on a store.
I was like, I cannot believe it.
He's going to be there, and I got to get something prepared because there's something I'm going to wear.
Yeah, I said, I am going to, I already knew like a month and a half, maybe 2 months in advance. So I said, I am going to make a shirt. I'm going to have a shirt created for this concert. And this concert was out in the middle of nowhere, like I said, out in the mountains. So anyway, all right, let me tell you about the shirt. This shirt.
PG-13.
PG-13. So this shirt, all right, I don't know how to start this, but what I'm going to say
is... We weren't going to church then.
No, we weren't. Oh, okay. So, George Clinton, he started his music career in Detroit. Okay. So Detroit is known for three things: the auto industry, pimping, and music, Motown. So George Clinton basically started his music career in Detroit. So when I was younger, I read this autobiography about Iceberg Slim. Now, for those of you that don't know Iceberg Slim, he's a famous pimp from Detroit. Well, there's a lot of famous pimps from Detroit, but he was one of them.
And side note, they actually have every year in Portland, Oregon, a pimp convention.
Yes, they do.
Go on.
All right. So I was like, I'm going to see George Clinton and I need a shirt to be made because I cannot buy one anywhere. So I need this custom made. So I went to this t-shirt place that, does, the screening and stuff like that. And I went to the guy and I said, I want to have a specially made t-shirt. He was like, all right, so what do you want? I said, well, I want the letters to be block letters. And I want the letters to be purple. And then I want the outline of the letters to be like a neon green.
Of course.
And he was like, all right, so purple and neon green on the outside of the letters. I was like, yes. And he goes, all right, well, what would you like the t-shirt to say? And I said, I want the t-shirt to say Detroit Pimpin'. And that he was like,
seriously?
He goes, what? I said, I want the t-shirt to say Detroit Pimpin'. And then he looked at me again. He goes, is this some kind of joke? I was like, no.
George Clinton's coming to town.
George Clinton's coming to town, and I need a shirt that says Detroit Pimpin'. And so for $15, it was like $15-20, he made the shirt. Just to show you that I'm not lying, this is the shirt that I have made. Detroit Pimpin'. I just want to say, I'm not against any violence. I am against all violence to women, and I'm not a pimp advocate. I was just young and dumb and unsanctified. But this Detroit Pimpin', I still have the shirt today. I don't wear it I just keep it
It just keeps it
for memory.
memories.
So, so I apologize to all women out there about the pimping thing. So anyway, so we go there. We're there at the place all day long. I don't care who's singing, nothing, and we're drinking beer. So anyway, like I said, this is out in the middle of nowhere. It's woods. So it's starting to get, George Clinton's not going to come on until like 8 o'clock. It's about 7. It's like 6:30 or 7 right now when when I was there. And they have like a little gate, and there's like a guard at the gate. So I tell my friend Kyle, I was like, I need to get back there and find George Clinton. I need you, because you can't go backstage, as they call it, but like I said, it's out in the wilderness. So I was like, distract that guy. I'm going to hop over this little gate, and then I'm going to find my way around. And I'm going to meet George Clinton.
I wasn't there, or else I would have stopped him.
Yeah, she would have. So obviously I'm pretty buzzed, and I'm ready to go. So I tell Kyle, go distract that guy. It's time. So Kyle distracts him. And this is back in the day when we had cell phones, but there was like no like Facebook where you could upload your video or picture. I think there was probably MySpace, but nobody really did that. So we had our cell phones, but my cell phone was dead.
Yeah.
So I have no proof, just the story. Believe me. So anyway, I hop over. It's getting a little bit dark out, and I'm just like, oh yeah, I'm back here. And there's like a big white party tent, and then there's this white van to the right of me, and I'm walking in this van. The doors open, like the side doors open, and there's this guy in like this white robe just sitting in the van. And I'm walking by, and I look, and it's George Clinton sitting by himself in the van, like in the door, the side door of the van, and he's bald headed. So that's what kind of threw me off at first, because usually George has all the dreads and they're all different colors, but his head was shaved. And I walked by and I was like, George?
George?
He's like, yeah. And inside, I'm like
a little girl.
It's George Clinton. And I have my beer, and I was like, George Clinton. He's like, yeah. He goes, hey, can I take a sip of that beer? I was like, George, I got free beer all day long.
I'll go get you one.
I'll go get you a beer right now. He goes, no, I just need a little sip to wet my whistle. I was like, here you go. He took a sip. He gave it back to me. And I'm thinking, George Clinton, the godfather of funk, took a sip of my beer, and I got his DNA on my cup, my plastic cup. He's like, what's going on? And I was like, not much. So I just sat down right next to George Clinton in the door van. And I was just like, we sat there and we talked for like a good half hour. We talked about Ice Cube. We talked about Prince. We talked about his favorite countries that he played in. We talked about all kinds of, I mean, I couldn't believe it. He was by himself, and I'm sitting next to him, and we're just talking like we've known each other forever. And it was the most awesome thing ever. And then, so after about a half hour, somebody comes up to George and says, hey, George, we need to talk about, the stage setup and everything. And George is like, hey, good talking to you. I got to go. And so I was like, all right, cool. So I'm like, all right, I'm here. I got to do something. Where do I go now? So I saw the big white party tent, you know.
So he just totally ditches his friend Kyle.
Yeah, Kyle. Yeah, Kyle. He's probably wondering where the heck did Rick go, because I didn't see Kyle for the rest of the night.
And you'll find out why.
Yeah. So I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go see who's at this party tent, because I'm thinking Bootsy Collins is somewhere up in that tent. Because I was hoping Bootsy Collins was, because I knew that Bootsy Collins kind of dropped out of the whole Parliament funk thing, and George Clinton had a lot of bass players, you know, off and on throughout the career after Bootsy left. So I go into the tent. I'm wearing the shirt. Oh, I forgot to tell you, I was wearing the shirt, and when George Clinton took a sip of my beer and handed the beer back, he saw my shirt, and he looked at it. He goes, "Detroit pimpin'." He goes, "That's funny." I was like, yes. so I go into the tent, and it's a little foggy in there. You know what I mean? Foggy. So I walk in there, and it's, if you ever seen a George Clinton concert, you're like on YouTube or whatever, those are the people in this tent. The funky outfits, they're ready to party. They're already partying. They're ready for the concert to start. I walk in there, and I'm like, ah, I am in funk heaven. You know, that's what I'm thinking. So I'm walking, I'm talking the big hats, the big hat with the big brim with the fur, and the fur pimp coat with no shirt underneath. It was glorious. So anyway, it was funkified. So I'm walking around, and I'm like, what the heck, man? This is awesome. I'm looking for Bootsy Collins, Bootzilla. You know, one of the greatest bass players ever. Bootsy Collins. No denying. If you deny it, I deny you. So I walk up to this one guy. I was like, where's Bootsy at? Where's Bootsy? He goes, Bootsy ain't here. I'm the bass player.
Sorry.
I was like, oh man, I'm sorry. And then he looked at my shirt. He goes, Detroit pimpin'. He goes, hey fellas, come over here. Look at this guy's shirt. This says Detroit pimpin' on it. They come over, they say, what? Detroit pimpin'? Oh man.
He was in.
I was in like Flynn. Everybody loved me. I was there. We were all having a good time. We're talking. Everything was going good. And then all of a sudden, snap, snap. Guy comes in. He goes, all right, everybody, get in line.
Stage.
We're getting on stage. Everybody in line. It was kind of weird, because it's like everybody had to be in line. So they're getting on stage.
He gets in line.
So I get in line, because he said, everybody in line. So I was like,
okay.
All right. So I get in line. I'm like right in the middle of everybody. I forget what the bass player's name was, but me and him, we were talking for a while. So I forget his name. But anyway, so we all get in line, including me. And we start walking to the stage. We go behind the stage. We walk up the stairs. And we're walking up the stairs. And then some guy at the top of the stairs, one of the security guys, he stops me. He's like, who are you? I'm like,
I'm Detroit pimpin'.
I didn't say that.
I know.
But I wanted to, but I didn't. I was like, he's like, who you with? I was like, I'm with him. Now I pointed to the bass player. I was like, I'm with him. He's like, all right. He goes, but kind of stay in the background of the stage. Don't get up front. And I was like, cool. So,
That's awesome.
boom. Here we go. Song starts. Flashlight. Everybody's jamming. The crowd goes wild. I'm standing on the stage behind George Clinton and everybody else. It's going buck wild. And I am there.
On stage.
On stage, in the background. Cannot believe how lucky I am. And Kyle has no clue where I'm at because I just left him.
Sorry, Kyle.
He probably saw me on the stage, but I did not come down for that stage. I was like, I am on the stage. And I am not leaving.
For the whole concert.
For the whole concert. And I was there behind George Clinton the whole time while he was jamming. And I was just like, man, this is too amazing. So anyway, that was a fun moment. But I have a whole lot of moments. I have met Dee Wallace. She was mother from E.T. and The Howling. She was in The Howling and stuff. I've met Eric Roberts, famous actor, especially great scene from Pope at Greenwich Village. Charlie, they took my thumb. My thumb. Pope at Greenwich Village. If you never saw that movie, it's one of the greatest Mickey Rourke movies ever made. Just a whole bunch of different celebrities. One of my biggest stories is a Prince concert that I went to. Now, that story is way too long for me to tell. I'm going to tell it one day.
That's a video in itself.
Yeah, that's a video in itself. One of these days I'm going to tell this story, but I was actually, I didn't meet Prince personally, but I was like 200 feet away from Prince during his sound check and rehearsal. So that tells you something right there. Because not everybody gets to see a sound check with Prince and a rehearsal before the concert. So that's just a tease. I'll tell that story one day. But anyway, we thought this video would be fun.
Yeah, and if you guys have had any celebrity encounters, drop a comment. Let us know.
Let us know your comments.
Were they nice? Were they disappointing?
Yeah.
But yeah, we just wanted to share our video.
Because it's fun.
It is.
And it's part of life. And that's what loving life is all about.
That's right. So we hope you enjoyed this video and thank you for watching.
Give a like.
Subscribe.
And share.
Woohoo.
Don't forget to comment.
Peace out.
Peace out.